So I
Okay.
thought like the hype was out of it blew up like crazy in the last 20 days, especially. Once the songs were out and the soundtrack was a little had started like gaining momentum. I thought like the hype train went off rails during last one, which happened with Leo as well. I think the Leo hype train was even more than this.
Leo hype train was even more. It was Vijay, right?
Yeah. Sure, but like this was supposed to be like a sort of comeback. But I thought like the bigger question in my head was, which is I feel a question that has multiple answers to, in my opinion, which is what I was thinking we'll give the title of this episode also, like Coolie, who is at fault? Like, are
Huh.
we also partially at fault for having increased expectations and not watching it as is? Like, because you remember Amartya and I, we watched
Hmm.
Leo on first day only, I think, and then we recorded it also
First day.
immediately on the first
Yeah.
day itself.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
both of us were loved it like anything. In
Hmm.
comparison to others, so it felt like we were considering it like some sort of godfather, because everyone else's opinion was so divided on it, and we were like, because to me, those criticisms didn't make sense objectively. They were like subjective criticisms कि नहीं भाई हमको ये पसंद नहीं आया in that sense. Sure,
Hmm.
there were there were flaws. You can discuss about like how writing worked in that and how it sort of
The
was
main, the flashback is the
communicative.
one we both agree was pretty bad. The flashback
Ha,
is the one we both agree was pretty bad.
correct.
Yeah.
So when you heard Lokesh speak in interviews about the flashback, he was like, it was sort of a fake flashback. It was someone else's perspective. So that you can criticize by saying, you know what, you did not communicate it well then to us because we did not
Hmm.
interpret it what you wanted, right?
Hmm.
But in general, the hype really like I feel it really pushed it like back also a little bit. And here also it's more so in that sense the hype was a little,
No,
pushing it
I
against.
agree on the high. Yeah, the high bit because like my like despite the fact that my family watches a decent amount of Tamil films, we're not
Yeah.
people to go out of our way and watch them in theaters. Like
Uh,
other like mostly we'll watch Hindi films and Malayalam films. That's
Malayalam.
all. Like
Yeah.
we went to
Mm.
watch we went to watch Telugu and watch Pushpa once just because my dad saw it and
Correct.
like on streaming and liked it. So we went to watch Pushpa 2. That's all.
You
So my
went for it
dad saw
twice.
I went for it once only. Pushpa 2 I only
Okay.
saw once.
Mm.
So my
वो
dad
ही
saw the
काफी
promo
है.
for Coolie.
वो ही
I
काफी
though
है.
wanted to go for the extended cut, but I didn't get the time. We're not going there.
सर
Uh,
बहुत टाइम है जिंदगी में. 3.25 घंटे स्पेंड करके वो हॉल में देख रहे हो. बहुत
Two
टाइम है
declines.
जिंदगी में.
yeah, so my dad saw the promotions for Coolie and thought it was really interesting and told me that we should check this out. And this is like a week before the film comes out, so we pre-booked the
Mm.
tickets like 3-4 days well in advance, and
Nice.
we scheduled that. Actually, the War 2 plan I made after. I was like afternoon show है, सुबह खाली
Mm.
पड़ा है, सुबह देख लेते हैं if you're going to the
Yeah.
theater anyways. So
Mm.
Coolie के लिए there was definitely quite a bit of hype that reached people who have no interest in this
Correct.
area at all. So I definitely do think that was a major problem that
Mm.
contributed to the sort of reception to it.
Mm. I'll just
No,
introduce
I think
this episode and then we'll continue further. Okay. So
जादू मंतर जादू मंतर जादू मंतर You are going into the future.
You talking to me?
Ain't always BBC closing. என் பேர் மாணிக்கம் எனக்கு இன்னொரு பேர் இருக்கு
The queen is dead.
just for customary, blabbering sake. So hello. Welcome back to Queen is Dead. I'm Sanjeet. I have Amartya and Cris with me, and we're discussing the new Independence Day releases, the pan-Indian blockbusters, namely Coolie, directed by Lokesh Kanagaraj, and
blog,
only briefly, we'll be discussing War 2,
because we
specifically
don't have the
briefly,
bandwidth. Because we don't have the bandwidth
directed
to
by
discuss
Ayan
much about
Mukherjee.
the movie.
but
Yes.
more
Supposedly.
so Coolie because it was something that was more expected of because of the directorial backing it had under Lokesh Kanagaraj. And Amartya and I have vocally been very big admirers of his work in general, especially since we both, Amartya and I, caught on to his master film at the same time. And we were both
Yes,
pleasantly
yes.
surprised like how good of a Vijay film that was, essentially.
Yes. Oh God.
No matter
Oh
no
God.
matter how much
Yes.
hate we'll get for not liking Vijay otherwise. But
Yes.
but about the hype train which we were discussing pre-intro, Amartya, you wanted to say something about it?
சூரியனை வெல்ல முடியாது நட்சத்திரத்தை என்ன முடியாது என் தலைவனை வெல்ல முடியாது சின்ன பசங்க பாக்குறது போகும் இந்த தலைவேட்டை வச்சுக்காத கோகோ கூலினா உழைப்பாளி இல்ல இன்டர்நேஷனல் கூலி
No, I think the hype train decreased slightly because I think this Coolie's hype train was a bit weird. I think the
Okay.
Leo thing which you were talking about, the expectations mattered. Coolie में misguided expectations became more of a norm because the trailer wasn't received that well.
Theories.
Oh, yeah, trailer wasn't received that well, but the theories were like ridiculous theories. People were like science
हाँ.
fiction है, okay,
Yeah,
invisible
yeah.
man आ रहा है, बहुत कुछ theories
Yeah,
था. इलेक्ट्रिक चेयर में डेड बॉडीज zombie हो जाएंगे, वो सब क्या सब चीज था, ठीक है, as theories बहुत कुछ था. Okay, when
Yeah.
Lokesh is making a sci-fi movie, Lokesh is making a time travel movie, I'm like, ठीक है भाई, cool man, चलो. So I think Lokesh के लिए hype is always coming because it's a Lokesh Kanagaraj movie. Whatever you can say about him, I think Vikram was a paramount shift, okay, in Tamil cinema and
100%.
in cinema in general. It
So-
was a paramount shift. Like,
Correct. At some point when we did like best of a year list, Mahidar, who was one of our guests on the episode, he mentioned this one thing which I thought 100% agreed, which was like there's going to be a pre-Vikram and a post-Vikram cinema that is going to settle in, which has sort of taken precedence in the form of in every industry in a way. Like even in Telugu, Venkatesh came up with a film called Saindhav, directed by Sailesh
yeah.
Kolanu, which felt like a very impressionistic idea of what Vikram did for that particular actor, like Kamal Hassan essentially. So
Kamal
so
Hassan.
the pre-post Vikram thing really took him to another level of directors. Like he was on the round table with I think S.S. Rajamouli and Kamal Hassan and all those guys. So I was like, he's made his position over there with the kind of movie he made, and the filmmaking wise, craft wise, was just so well done. I mean, I know Cris is still halfway through it, so he's not finished it yet. But when
Vikram.
it came,
yeah.
when it
Oh,
came
yeah.
out,
Like,
I was like blown away by how much I enjoyed that movie because there was so much to
Yeah,
just
yeah.
unpack. Usually, it's just like so dense and all that, and just generally all his titular characters are usually discovered throughout the movie in a way, at least the first half, essentially.
yes,
And
yes.
and we become surrogate, like there are multiple surrogate characters for audiences, so it just becomes like inherently a very engaging way of telling a story. I think what
It's an
happened with Coolie
investigative
was
thriller. It's an investigative thriller about a character in the first half. The
Correct,
character is being investigated, basically. And then the
Essentially.
second half becomes that character taking over the reins. I think Vikram is a massive gamble if you think about it, because it is one of those rare movies where the quote-unquote
Yeah.
mass actually becomes like seamlessly integrated with movies that the urban audiences are more accustomed to. It's like one of those weird mixtures that actually work. I think Master also works to a certain degree, but Vikram is like almost perfect in how it mixes
Correct.
It's almost
Correct.
perfect. Yeah. And
No,
which is
but-
why I think Lokesh tries to replicate it in Coolie, and Lokesh also fails because it's really hard. It is really hard to
just
do.
before we go, I'll just read out the synopsis for Coolie. As it says on Google, Deva, a former gold smuggler, seeks to regain his past glory by reviving his old gang with stolen technology hidden in vintage golden watches. I think this is a misleading
It's fully
synopsis.
misleading title. वैसा कुछ
It's
था ही
on
नहीं.
Google. I think this is what led people to thinking what the film was going to be. So classic
Yes.
case of what they expected the film to be and what it turned out to be. But okay, so the next question that I would pose is, why do you think the investigative track fails in a film like this? What do you think, like Chris, Amartya, what do you think about it?
Mm. I think
I just no.
the character who is going to be investigated in Vikram
Huh.
is Vikram.
Yeah.
So he is absent for the majority of the movie. Like, you understand that he's there, right? But he is
Yeah.
absent for the majority of the first half. He's there in flashes. He's there in impressions. And the person leading the investigation is another actor who we are much more accustomed to and engaged with. That is Fazil as Amar. So it's like the intent of the investigation is far more interesting than the actual, as is the actual investigation. Here, the investigation is towards a disappearance and then a MacGuffin. So it's already like there are multiple things being investigated. So
Correct,
the
correct,
disappearance of Satyaraj, which leads to what the fuck is the electrical chair?
Okay,
So
okay, spoiler
one
alert. We are going to be discussing massive spoilers about the film. So if you haven't
massive
watched it,
spoiler.
go watch it and then come back. I'm sorry, I
Go
should have
watch
put
it.
it a little
Yeah.
back earlier. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's already getting complicated here. More importantly, I think one of the bigger criticisms which I can give it is that unlike Vikram, Rajnikant is there throughout the movie.
Almost every
Rajnikant
frame,
is
essentially,
almost every frame. Rajnikant is there is almost every frame. So
Hmm.
people missing Rajnikant for a majority of a half, that is also not possible because, and I second this, and I'm not saying this because I'm a diehard Kamal Hassan fan. I haven't seen enough of his movies to be a diehard Kamal Hassan fan, but
But you admire him, so it's
there,
fair.
there are very few stars who will actually give the entirety of a half to another star.
Yeah.
Okay, in a massive commercial movie that is essentially built on his presence.
And
Okay,
his
so
comeback
not a
in
lot
real
of
life.
and his comeback in real life. Not a lot of stars have the balls to do that. So Rajnikant, on the other hand, because it's Rajnikant, what do you expect? It's like the swagger, all that shit. You want Rajnikant to do something. Like, you want Rajnikant to be specifically Rajnikant. So
Yeah.
even if Lokesh Kanagaraj presents Rajnikant with, as Bharadwaj Rangan pointed out, with dignity, he's still Rajnikant. So you
Yeah.
need to give space to his Rajnikantisms. So for that, he needs to be in every frame, which is slowly becoming a problem because with Rajnikant within the frame, the investigative thriller then becomes about the disappearance and then the MacGuffin. And then it lies on the filmmaker to develop the investigation much more effectively, which is
So
where the movie
essentially,
starts to falter.
what I am getting out of this is the MacGuffin is the problem. The MacGuffin should have been more prominent instead of a fake element. I mean, whatever MacGuffin means in this context, it should have been more
Yes.
prominent as a plot device to not just drive the plot, but also have some consequences, let's say later in the movie, for characters to
Yes.
follow up on it. This is what I'm getting out of.
Because it changes, right? Because immediately after that, first half ke interval ke baad it suddenly changes, and then you know the issue I had with it. He essentially remakes Jailer. He essentially remakes Jailer ka second. Jailer ka second half is literally this. Like, Nelson does this. Nelson ka comedy mein his plot goes haywire in the second half. Kahin pe bhi jata hai. And then it kind of sort of coalesces together. This is essentially like in Coolie. Second half is fully like Jailer.
Chris, what did you think of the narrative though?
No, I think it's just a distinct lack of focus, right? Like, I feel
Yes.
like that it's the problem with like writing plot. Like, it's definitely too much plot. Like, undeniably, it's a film with
Yeah.
too much plot in it.
Too much,
But
yeah,
I
yeah,
think the fundamental problem is like when you're writing, right? And I say this with a little bit of like whatever my little experience is. You want to get from A to B. You know where A is, you know where B is.
Correct.
In a good streamlined story, which you guys say, Vikram, and so far I think it absolutely is, you're able to draw a
Yeah.
straight line from A to B.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just don't know how to get from A to B. So you end up taking every detour because you have to connect this to that, and then you come up with that, and you have to connect it to something else, and you have to do something else. And so it just goes all over the place. And so by the time you reach the end point, you're exhausted. You just don't care. You don't have it in you to get invested in anything that happens in the film, because the
Yeah.
moment you're invested, like Amartya said, the most you're invested in one thing, it becomes about the next thing. You become
Correct,
invested in
correct.
that, it becomes about that. You know, you start
Correct,
with
correct.
you start with like the chair, or Satyaraja becomes the chair. You start with the chair, it becomes the flashback. You come with flashback, it becomes something else, and it keeps like shifting the goalpost, so you just don't know what you're supposed to be invested in when you're watching the
Fair.
film.
Yeah.
That sort
Correct.
of just puts you all over the place, and you're just like, I want to know where this goes. That fundamentally gets lost. You're not, there is no velocity to the plot. It's not going ahead, it's going all over the place. So when that happens,
Correct.
you're just not able to enjoy it the way something far more streamlined would be, especially when it comes to the construction of plot. That's, I think, the big issue.
No, I think for me, the beginning of the things was not essentially the chair. What I thought was an interesting beginning was the mansion itself. And this is what I spoke to my friends also right after we watched the film. I was like, why didn't he make most of the mansion? I mean, it's Deva's mansion. You're telling me that's a place where like a lot of students reside. There's no alcohol that is supposed to be consumed there. Why don't you make it more also about that? But then my friend pointed out saying, "Well, why wouldn't that become like Master Witch?" I'm like, that's fair, no? Like you can still hold like an emotional rooting for the character, because once the investigation starts, there's no emotional rooting for the character in at that present, except like past friendship or with a friend who's already passed away. So he's just like investigating, but then he doesn't have anything else to hold on to, which essentially is the daughter connection at the end, which comes in so
Yeah.
late. By that time, I am like, I don't care, I guess, about if you
Absolutely.
have a daughter also, because the subsequent cross-cutting that happens with like him getting to like the reveal of his daughter that happens is sort of pacing wise so off, like the train
Very
sequence
off.
with
Very, very off. Yeah.
Shobin Shire and Shruti Hassan, and the fight that is happening at his mansion, they somewhat don't come together at all. And this is again, it's not even just subjective, it's like the pacing itself is off. If you look at the beats
There's
at
no
which what is
tension.
happening.
Like, you have got
Exactly.
this like woman in trouble, supposedly, possibly,
Yeah.
like somebody cares about, even if it's his friend's daughter doesn't know. Her
Yeah.
life is at risk, and he's just like doing other things in this place, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this can wait, I'm gonna do others. And
No,
I'm like, then how am I supposed to
it's
care? If
like
you don't care, why would I
it's
care?
like
Yeah.
you are trying to evoke the 90s, but you essentially become a 90s ka picture, because it's like
Hmm.
so melodramatic after a point. I'm like, kya kar raha hai?
No, also
Why
the
are
other
you
thing
showing me
is,
this?
I am okay with conveniences in general in cinema, because I'm like, okay, it needs to be, because you're essentially manufacturing a narrative. But when you do detours like Shruti Hassan's, like the car that stops on the highway to eat food, I'm like, don't make a fool of yourself at this point. Like, I'm ready to support all your conveniences for cinematic liberties just to enjoy that moment. But when you do something like that, it just like puts me off saying, yeah, you could have done so many things. So my
And it's also
essential
no,
criticism
no,
for
आप
this
बोलो.
was more to do with that it's not imaginative enough. Like imaginative enough in a sense, like let's say in Vikram, again it's a comparative study, but I feel that was done better in a sense. Like the sequence where he's at his home, he needs to take his grandson out in the car,
Oh yeah.
and then he's
Hmm.
fighting all those guys while also making milk for his grandson, which I was like, this is
Yeah,
genius stuff.
and ensuring that his grandson doesn't wake up because
Ensuring
he
the
has a heart
grandson
issue.
doesn't wake up. Also, in the beginning of the film, when his son has passed away, and it's like a sad moment, he's trying to make milk there again,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't know how much of a significance that moment really holds when he's like cutting the packet, and like the packet falls completely, and then it comes back when he's making milk for his grandson again. And I was like, that's such a well thought out moment. It's not just
Callback,
any
yeah.
moment that exists.
Yeah.
It exists
Hmm.
for the character itself. So
Yeah.
so like such a relishing moment that's like so delicious. How do I explain it to you? Even in Leo,
Yeah, yeah.
there are like there are so many moments where I know there's a flashback problem, but then the way he fights in flashback sort of reflects the sort of climax where he's like a lone person, like a lone army fighting like multiple people, like 50, 60 people, and that's a lot of people. And how do you convince people that he can do that,
It-
right?
yeah. And it's also like in Leo again, it's the same thing, right? In Leo, the bigger thing was we agreed and we are completely bought into the fact Parthiban is saying consistently that I am not Leo. It's a
Correct.
performance that is selling to us.
Correct.
Because
Correct.
we also know that it is following a template, the flashback is going to come anyway. We know it. But we are still buying into it. So we are buying into the narrative that is building up. यहाँ पे we are not buying into anything within the first half ka ending. First half ka ending में that sequence happens. You know exactly the sequence I'm talking about in the
Yes.
graveyard.
Yes.
When that
Yeah.
happened, I audibly said, oh fuck. I literally said in the hall, oh fuck. Oh fuck. My mind was like, ये तो गया. This narrative is going to fall apart immediately. And of course it did. Because I'm like, I would remember Spielberg's dialogue, right? You can only have two contrivances in a script.
Oh, I didn't
You
know
can
about
only
this.
have two. Yeah. Spielberg
Okay.
said this. Yeah, you can only have
Did
two
he
contrivances.
particularly apply that to any movie?
I don't remember. I think it was Jaws. Maybe.
Okay.
I don't
Correct.
remember.
I mean, that's the defining movie for him. So, Chris, you were saying
I
something.
don't remember.
No, my thing is like that's the problem with like a template film, right? Like in most of these like mass films, wherever you sort of look at this thing, generally you've got like your main moments planned already. कि एक action set piece इधर होना है, एक इधर होना है, यहाँ पे ये होगा, वो होगा, and all of that. And at the end of the day, a lot of the effort becomes how do you connect these things, right? In a normal film, you're expecting if the connections are paper thin as well, you are going in there for those scenes चल जाएगा. Even if it's like Sanjeet, you were saying with contrivances, most people don't mind it. Like it can be just like barely anything that connects it. But that is much easier to swallow than when those contrivances take over the entire plot of or the narrative of the film. When you can't make the connective tissue between your set pieces your film. I mean the sort of contrived, like you can obviously do that in a better film, but you can't when you're trying to make it such a stripped down templatized thing. If you let that take over, then there's nothing to, because then the set pieces don't land because there isn't a proper build up to them. You're constantly confused. Like I had to explain the film constantly to my father who was sitting next to me कि ये क्या हो रहा है, वो क्या हो रहा है, ये उसका कौन है,
It's so
वो इसका कौन है.
convoluted for its own good. I'm like, ठीक है, चलो कर लो.
It's no necessary. It wasn't necessary only. Like इतना convolution डालने का कोई फायदा. See, the thing about Jailer. Okay, I'm bringing up Jailer here also. Comparative study. I'm bringing up Jailer. Jailer ka second half is dumb as a pile of rocks. That movie itself is dumb as a pile of rocks. I'm not even kidding. Okay, it's very dumb. Okay, but Rajinikanth ka character Muthuvel Pandian, he isn't dumb in that movie. Why
Correct.
he isn't dumb? Because we don't see him interacting specifically with all the dumb contrivance shit in the second half. We don't see him directly interacting. We see him facilitating. The problem here is Lokesh wants to make sure that because this is Rajnikant, because he has an advanced stage, I need to cheat and I need to ensure that all the action set pieces I do can be logical and can be followed. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is also Lokesh Kanagaraj. He's going to ensure that his characters have innovative action set pieces. So he's in a dilemma. So even if he's trying to do something like this, making him the facilitator, he's also making him directly go from one place to the next, directly think about it, directly make stupid choices like trusting Shobin. Like, why the F would you trust Shobin?
Yeah.
Why?
Dayan.
Why
as
would
his
you do
character.
that?
And then have the whole trusting his wife bit, and then there are also too many characters, just too many characters in the goddamn
Correct.
film that you don't know
And
what they're doing
just
with.
sadly, none of those characters. So as you're talking about Vikram or Leo or something, the characters sort of take precedence. Like they take up the mantle of taking the narrative forward. It's not just the plot that is doing that. Like essentially, like Vikram more so than anything else. But in a film like this, like okay, he's a big fan of Chekhov's gun in general. Like you've seen any movie like Vikram also had it. Leo mein the Hyena was the Chekhov's gun, which like
Chekhov's
sort
gun,
of
yes.
it's like to create mass movement essentially. Here, the Chekhov's gun for me was Upendra's character, and I was like, bro, you wasted such a great guy for Chekhov's gun for just that mass movement, and that really bothered me because I was like, you could have done so much more than waste essentially, I mean,
Upendra.
again, waste is again my opinion because I really like Upendra's movies and all that. So I was like, and he's so fit, man. He's looking so great in the movie. Why don't you
He's
make
looking
most of it?
insanely good. He's looking insanely good for a guy of that age,
You
Upendra.
know,
He's looking
exactly.
insanely
It
good.
could have, like, there are so many, again, it's not fair criticism in my opinion, but there are so many multiple narratives, or in the sense, what could have been ideas in the movie that are just right in front of you. Like, I feel when you have that money and have the technology, why don't you just make the flashback as the main movie? Essentially, you just need a body double and you're like imposing the face on his head, right? When you did that for that, just like put more money for VFX and make that as the movie. Why don't you just do that? It'll just be more
Yeah.
fun. I mean, I thought like
Mm.
whatever he did with the flashbacks, like something decent only to
The
look at.
flashbacks are I thought they were abysmal. Like I was just
Okay,
like,
fair
and it's
enough.
just the same thing. Like I don't think they were badly made. I just think they were very badly
Hmm.
incorporated into the narrative because you have them come
No,
up
it's
multiple,
a
and then it
I
just
it's
doesn't
think
a
make sense by the end of
that
it.
is
it's a
more of a
reaction. It's a
reaction
yeah.
reaction
It's a reaction
to
to the
the
Leo criticism.
Leo. Yeah,
Leo
which I
criticism.
thought in my head he shouldn't
Okay.
have listened to his critics. He should have just gone and done what
No,
he felt was right,
Yeah.
because he would have
what
come up
even
with
was right?
probably a better solution than just doing what is like. Oh, you know what? People
because
just said.
because at the end of the day you are going to do something like impressionistic about your flashback, like I can't believe I'm picking this movie up. If Dhruv listens to the episode, he's going to kill me. uh like say what Blonde did. Okay, like what Blonde did with
Okay.
his flashbacks, right? Impressionistic kaleidoscopic versions of fragments of flashbacks, basically. So it's
Hmm.
like you are doing that here also, right? But then at the end, you are presenting the chunk of a flashback essentially as an explanation. Then I'm like, फिर क्यों पीछे दिखा रहा था? Don't do that.
Exactly. No, and also the
Don't do that.
problem is then the Satyaraj friendship just never gets established. I don't know why I'm supposed to care because I don't know what's the bot. Like you explain whatever their relationship is through the flashbacks, but they never come properly. So I don't care about why he's looking after Shruti Hassan or why he's doing like it's there
Hmm.
is a lack of a very like from the very get go, like even if it's whatever the very basic setup, if I'm not invested there, again if with that Satyaraj sequence they have it come over and over and over again of like Sobin
Hmm.
Jahir beating him up, and I'm like, I'm tired. You could have just done it twice, like you could have teased it
There's
once
a.
and executed it once and you'd be done. Yeah.
Sorry for
And
interjecting,
then
but
there
there's
are
a
the
whole
plot holes.
curious case of Shruti Hassan. I am like, why don't you just do something? Like, if someone else is getting beaten up for her, she's just standing. When she's getting carried away, she's just like going. I was like, do something. Like, why do you need to have a damsel in
No,
distress if you can't write
apparently,
women characters?
According to Lokesh, writing Shruti Hassan's character was apparently a response to his critics, response to the critics that he can't write women. I'm like, ये response नहीं था. You
Did
double
he
down on the
write
fact
her?
that can't.
वही मैं कह रहा था,
Did
did
he
Yeah.
you
even
even?
write her? Like
So
I
I have
am
no.
so fed up of like these, like obviously it's a thing in like Tamil and Telugu films, at least from what I've seen, that you've got these like flower
Yeah.
pot roles of these and I just hate
Uh,
the fact that half the films are about women ka hum ye karenge wo karenge all of that. ठीक है, you've decided that's like for me a film where that kind of like worked that I watched recently, again I'm not the most familiar with either industry, something like Maharaja, the Vijay
mhm.
Sethupathi film, where it's
Yeah.
about violence against women, but it makes sense. Like the narrative for me is good enough that I'm able to at least make sense of that as a
Correct.
sort of inciting incident for the whole thing to happen. In this, it is we had no other way to write a plot. We couldn't figure out any other goddamn way to do this. तो लड़की को लगा देते. And I'm like that. You can't make a movie like that. It feels
This is Lokesh Kanagaraj being the most Sandeep Reddy man. मेरे critics ने मेरे बारे में ऐसा बोला, मैं ये करूँगा.
like
क्योंकि मेरे
और भी
critics ने
मत
बोला.
लिखो,
No,
like
he's
उनको
not
बख्श.
that
I'm
bad, bhai.
saying like
Please,
no,
don't say
I'm
that.
saying
I
I
really
would
like Lokesh.
I know he's not. I am just
I know, I
saying.
know. I know.
I'm saying I would take a film without any female characters in it. कि तुम्हें नहीं
हाँ,
लिखना आता है तो मत लिखो. You
correct.
write it about men's worlds and their experience and all that. Good for you. Don't care. Don't put them in and then do this and then say, oh, it was the most difficult thing for me to write because you clearly have not done the work. I'm sorry.
No, I think there's another
तो मत
thing.
लिखो ना. तो मत लिखो ना. That is the bigger thing here. मत लिखो.
The,
Problem
the,
क्या है?
the,
And it's not as if that he can't write. Hold on. It's not as if that he can't write. In
hmm.
Leo, he wrote Trisha Krishnan's character well enough.
Even,
Like,
yeah.
Trisha Kaj's character was fine.
No,
Like,
she was fair, bro. Like, I mean, whatever she had to serve the purpose to the plot, she was doing it, and it was like very respectful also in that sense. It didn't
yes,
demean the character to like put her in a position where it just feels like nothingness, which it was
yeah,
this movie. Which I was just sad, ki, bhai, like, why is this happening? Type, and it was really bothering me. Uh, First half is fine. Like, I can actually watch the first half again. The second half really bothered me because I was like, bro, what do you want? Where do you want us to go? Where do you want us to go? Like, you take us there, but
you
like
can
don't
you can
take like
literally cut
it's
you can
like
literally
holding our
cut the
hand,
showbiz
going
section out.
straight.
You can literally cut the showbiz section out of the movie, and I'm telling you, nothing changes. Literally
Except for the
nothing
fact that
changes.
the movie gets much worse because Sobin Shahir is for me practically the only like redeemable thing about the film, if I'm
Actually,
being
even for me,
entirely honest.
I think they
I
did
mean, he's great.
Nagarjuna really dirty because the
भाई
character was
Oh,
so
मेरा
for
मेरा
one
sure.
note,
मेरा
so one
दोस्त
note.
मेरा दोस्त है ना मेरा दोस्त है ना तुझे तुझे ये पता है संजीत आजाद ओके आजाद told me
Yeah,
a good thing आजाद
okay,
told me a good thing आजाद is like you cast नागार्जुना उसके खून में से मांस निकलता है
yeah.
Hmm.
नागार्जुना एंट्री दे रहा है कोई मास फीलिंग नहीं आ रहा है कि कैसे पॉसिबल है आई एम लाइक गुड वेट
Entry was mass. For me, his entry shots and all personally worked for me. My point
Hmm.
was there is nothing that happens with like the
it's
character
nothing
doesn't do like I'm saying
nothing
the characters inherently that character particularly has inherently so much flair. Like you can make
Hmm.
him such a flamboyant. Like I was constantly reminded of Penguin when I saw Shobin Shahir because I was like,
yeah
okay,
yeah
this guy's like some relentless cockroach who's just gonna get up all the time. You try to like squash it.
yeah yeah
This character is just gonna come back all the time, and I somehow I even though staying away from all marketing material for this movie, one thing did
Hmm.
show up on my Instagram, which was like Nagarjuna's clothes. There was like some purple suit that he wore was inspired by Joker.
Yes, the
Hmm.
Joker
I was like, then
motif,
why
yeah.
didn't you just do that only if you just wanted to do it? Like
Hmm.
I'm saying like where you when you put him in that set piece where there are like multiple screens, what is the point of it? What are you trying to convey? What is the communication that you are trying to establish
It's like we
about the
wanted to do a
character?
video call but mass. तो इतना screen लगा दिए.
But I was like,
No,
you could
it's
have done
like
so
it's
much more.
no, no. These are like all fragments of ideas. Okay, connected by a
That's
plot
what.
that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Connected by a
That's
plot that makes no sense.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, bhai, Shobin sir is Dayal. You are a police officer, right? Under what condition did you think that video calling and killing his son is going to ensure that you are going to get out of there alive? Like
Yeah, like
seriously, bro. Like
Hmm.
seriously, bro. क्या कर रहा है?
mm,
Seriously,
no,
bro.
that
What are
really
you
just
doing?
like bothered me. Even the reveal for his wife character that happens, I was like,
Oh
bro,
God.
The
you
reverse
know,
Argentina.
Chris, you haven't finished Vikram. You should finish it then, and then you should have come here, and then you would have been like, you would have
Yeah,
hated
yeah.
even more on Coolie, particularly because of this one particular element. Because I was like, bro, why did you do this, man? Like, it's such a helpless recreation of something that happens in Vikram. But
Hmm.
anyway, the one more thing that I was thinking about more so,
The idea of the reversal of that moment from Vikram, idea is not bad. But again, all of these are ideas. This
yeah,
feels
Hmm.
like ideas that haven't been developed.
This
yeah,
needed like about 40 rounds more of editing. Like someone needed to take the script, cut it to pieces, get it in line, and then shoot it. Because I still think there
No,
are
no, you're
really
wrong. No,
interesting
no, you're
ideas.
no, no,
Then,
you're wrong. You're wrong. The script, जो आपने बोला वो ही किया script को, which is why the
huh.
movie is like this. उस
Okay.
script को reconstruct करना चाहिए था. उस
That
script
is
को
true.
reconstruct करना चाहिए था. पूरी तरह
hmm.
से.
That is true.
I feel I don't know why there were no objective voices around him telling him, maybe it's not working, bro. Most
Hmm.
big movies that are being made here in like Tamil and Telugu industries, the perspective is always key. I mean, the good filmmakers, what they're trying to do is let's try to make it work.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Even if it costs an extra buttload of money, let's try to make it work. So what's happening with something like Dhurandhar also in Hindi cinema,
Hmm.
from what I'm hearing from a lot of people who work in Bombay is they're doing a couple of more reshoots to try to make it work. That's the
Hmm.
idea of
Okay.
doing things. So what I'm saying is, why was there no objective voices like trying to tell him, you know what, bro, you can do a little better. Like,
Hmm.
it may be
I think it's because it was conceived as a project. I think it's
Hmm.
because it was conceived as
reverse
Rajnikant's Vikram.
engineered. Correct. No,
reverse
Yeah.
engineer. It's
it is obvious. It is known as a fact that Rajinikanth approached Lokesh to write something for him. So I feel
It's
it came
flawed from
from
first
that.
principles. That's the
Correct.
problem.
There was no story in the
Ki
first
when
it's
place
a
to
you're
write them.
project. It was a
Yeah.
project. It's essentially a
Yeah.
project. It's not a story that Lokesh had in plan for. And don't believe that story ki Rajnikant के लिए लिखा था. I don't believe that. अगर ये story है तो भाई
But
भाई कुछ गड़बड़ है.
if you look at the pattern of things, the last 10 years for Rajnikant has been him approaching filmmakers to write something for him. So this is from whatever I've learned. I mean, I feel if Adityan was here, he would have given more insight, but because he would have had more context to this. But post Shivaji, I'm sorry, okay, post Robo, after 2010, the stuff that he's made, um, the audiences have been so divided. He's like that. He's a franchise. Like he's like Star Wars. Either way, people will never be happy with whatever he does. Like there will be a section which will always be unhappy. And then when you look at in retrospect those movies, they are like such goddamn amazing films as a standalone thing. But they get
So
bogged down by
रोबो के बाद
whatever has
क्या
happened.
क्या है? रोबो के बाद क्या है? 2.0
Kochadian,
2.0
Kochadian,
Kochadian.
which was directed by his
हाँ.
daughter, which was like a live
Oh
action
yeah, that
animation,
animated
whatever.
movie.
Yeah.
Oh
Then
yeah,
it
that
was
was dog shit.
K.S.
But
Ravi
okay,
Kumar's
that was dog.
Linga. Then it
Oh
was
God,
two Paranjit movies, Kabali and Kala.
Kabali and Kala. Kabali and Kala.
Then, if
Kabali,
I'm
I
not,
haven't seen. Kala, I have heard is really good. I haven't seen. None of them I've seen. So
I,
I
I'll,
don't know.
I'll tell you more about it. And then it was 2.0 in
Yes,
2018, if I'm not wrong.
18.
And then
Yes.
2019 January is Pitta. After that is
Karthik
Annate.
Subaraj.
After
Oh
that,
God, Annate.
Annate was again the guy who made Kangua, Shiva. Then after Annate
Anytime you
was
hear
Jailer.
Kanguba, you give offerings to the gods.
Yeah.
वो एक अलग मूवी है. ठीक है.
No, you pray for Amartya's ears कि अब तक recover तो हो जाने चाहिए. होए है
Yes.
नहीं तो.
Yeah, जाना पड़ेगा तेरे को. Then after Annate was Jailer, and then last year was Vettaiyan, and this year Coolie. So essentially,
अरे दरबार भी किया ना बीच में. दरबार भी
oh,
किया ना बीच
Darbar
में.
also.
Darbar
That
is
was
also
after
there.
Pitta. Oh, right. So
दरबार
my
के. अरे
point is,
वेट्टायन you miss. अरे वेट्टायन you miss.
I said
You miss
Vettaiyan. I said
Vettaiyan.
Vettaiyan.
Oh, you.
Yeah.
You
My
did
point
दरबार
is,
also. बाप रे.
every film that has sort of come, except Jailer, because people had no hopes from Jailer because Nelson's track record with Beast was so bad that people like had
It's a
Jailer.
bad movie. It's a bad movie. I'm sorry.
They had no
It's
expectation. And
true.
then Jailer was like, huh, okay, it's not that bad, you know? And then that
Yes,
propelled
yes.
people to go watch like 2-3 times and became like a blockbuster and all that. But essentially, the reception for all the movies was so polarized. Even Kabali's hype before the film was insane. I remember that time it was 2016, it released in July, if I'm not wrong, July 22nd also. The hype was insane because the teaser was insane. And people were like, this movie scammed us. I was like, no. They made the movie. You got overhyped by watching that movie. And I think Kabali is a pretty good movie. I like personally like Kabali a lot because of the way it's what it's trying to do with Rajinikanth, the actor. It's very much, and Kala more so because Kala mein to he's a metaphor only more than a character. You watch those movies and there's such a nice duology of sorts because they are putting the star, and I'm telling you in retrospect, 10 years down the line, when you're assessing a filmography of 171 films, you know, the last 10 years essentially will be such a mixed bag of things because he's broken out of character, gone back to doing like films that appeal to BNC centers like Annate, and then he's done like a fan movie which is like Petta, and it's such a mixed bag. And I feel Coolie will also be more, people will be more softer to it later on. I feel this is my interpretation, but I'm
They are
saying
already softer. They are already softer because What 2 is a pile of dog shit. That's why they're already softer on it. They're
yeah,
already
Except
softer
for
on it.
people like me.
Yes.
course.
yeah. But what else do you
Yes.
think about like Coolie? Like if you have more criticism or like some pet peeves about what you thought,
Anirudh scored. Anirudh
liked
scored.
it, liked it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, the music is
Yeah.
very good.
But the
Yeah.
Music
Maneka
is
song was
damn
actually
good.
lovely. I was like fully
Like I
like
like I
my cinema was
understand like I
grooving. So
understand
I was like having a
yeah
good time.
I understand Anirudh should be like lambasted for taking 4 samples from Breaking Bad. Okay, as in basically score the baseline. I understand he
Hmm.
should be lambasted. But man, the guy knows how to create a baseline, man. I
Hmm.
don't know what to say. Like there is a reason. Like Cheeky 2 is so different. A track.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Cheeky 2 is one hell of a groovy track.
Oh yeah, it's a
Cheeky 2
great
one
Hmm.
hell
track.
of
Yeah. I
it's a great
watched
track.
first day first show in Hyderabad and it like this theater called Prasad, which is like one of the first few
The
IMAXs.
IMAX.
I mean, there's no IMAX now anymore, but it's still a very cultural cinema cultural hub because first day first shows are insane over here. Like
Hmm.
I had to come. My show was at 7 a.m. So I had to be here before 6:30 to park my vehicle because I was like, otherwise I won't get time to go in.
Oh.
And it's like because and there are like multiple shows happening at the same time in like different screens. So it's
Hmm.
crowded. Like there are like
Hmm.
Hmm.
some 500, 600 people just like walking around. So it's just like
Hmm.
2 minutes, and right outside the theaters there are like those interviews and all. So at least the first half, maybe an introduction and title card and the tracks that took place, the response to
Hmm.
them was insane. It's only
Hmm.
around like the middle and the I would say the third quarter of the film where it just
Hmm.
became so dead in the theater. I was like, bro, it's like so like it's like
Bro,
not the reactions are like
कुछ तो
not
गड़बड़ है
coming.
कुछ तो
Yeah.
गड़बड़ है
The
यार कुछ तो
reactions are
गड़बड़ है
not coming.
and also
But
it's like
Yeah.
there is another track I really like that the trailer ka main track Mobster that
Mobster.
Mobster
Hmm.
track is damn like that is
Yeah.
one banger of a track
I
also Koki the
Oh
Upendra
yeah,
entry
that
track
I liked a lot
Oh.
actually.
that track is
Hmm.
damn like
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I
again
liked it a lot.
Upendra's entry is the one entry I think he built up to it quite successfully. Like I
Yeah.
understand what you mean. You wasted that for the Chekhov's gun, but like
Hmm.
वो build up अच्छा था at the
Yeah. No,
very
Hmm.
no.
least. But,
No, I
yeah,
am okay with that. Like I'm saying, you used essentially a star as a Chekhov's gun, which is like insane. Like that's the amount of privilege you have at
Hmm.
this point as a filmmaker. But I'm saying
Hmm.
when you look
वही
at
problem है ना.
again, then it's my expectation only expecting, when you see characters like Amar and what was Vijay Sethupathe's character in Vikram?
Sandanam, Sandanam,
Chandanam. As
Sandanam.
Hmm.
characters,
Hmm.
Hmm.
you feel like these people can also exist as like characters and you get to explore them as well in like ways you don't
Hmm.
expect. So
Yeah.
for
Also
that
Vijay
was just a very
Sethupathe's entry.
personal, huh?
Also Vijay Sethupathe's entry in Vikram that was one
Insane stuff.
subversive as fuck entry. Insane entry.
Insane stuff. Yeah, yeah. Vikram
What a
again, it's like
entry!
yeah. But okay,
Peak.
Hmm.
what did you guys think about Amir Khan at the end of the movie? Like
Arey, we didn't
Chris,
talk about
Chris,
the
Chris,
main
you go
man
because
only.
who?
Yeah,
We
yeah, we
didn't
have to
talk
talk
about
about.
Rajni. We didn't talk about Rajni.
Okay, okay. Let's start with him. What do you guys think? Okay.
No, okay, so one
I
thing I have to put a very important caveat here. Unfortunately, I had to watch the film in Hindi because my
Okay.
so did
dad
I.
can't do subtitles. So
So
Okay.
I
did I.
had to, yeah, so I
Okay.
could not watch it in Tamil, but I honestly that's the thing, right? So for me, I haven't like grown up with Rajini as many people in the South have. Not really a big comparative.
Yeah.
Like I feel like someone like Talapati Vijay is much bigger in Kerala in than
Yeah.
someone like
Yeah.
Rajni
Thalapathy
is, right?
Vijay is massive in Kerala.
Yeah.
Vijay
I
is
mean, like
massive.
his dubbed films are literally always on TV. When there's not like
Hmm.
Malayalam movies running,
कौन सा
it's
है?
always his film.
कौन सा थेरी
I
या
know
गिल्ली.
Theri is there like 90% of the time, but there's like a couple of them that keep like going back and forth, right? So
Hmm.
my experience of Rajnikant is mostly like I've seen Robo and 2.0 in I think on the big screen. And maybe one or two films here or there, like Shivaji the Boss or something like that, right? So I am going in, I'm seeing the superstar Rajni thing and everything, and I'm genuinely excited because I've not seen a
Hmm.
Rajni film in like many, many years. And honestly, I think with what he's given, he does a pretty good job. Like, I
Hmm.
feel like, again, he is also to me a very poorly written character. Like, I get what Lokesh Kanagaraj is going for with him. I just feel like 90% or at least like 50% of it Rajni is giving. Like in a lot of scenes, I thought there's a certain complexity of emotion that doesn't come through in the writing, but that's because Rajni is able to convey it. Like to me, even like the whole daughter reveal sequence, so the call with Shruti
That
Hassan, that all like I can see the attempts to build gravity, the score and the way that he's
Yeah.
around this. I don't feel it, but I genuinely felt his emotion when he picked up the phone and he heard Shruti Hassan's voice and
Yeah.
things like that. So for
No,
me,
he's a great actor.
having
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's
Rajni
fantastic.
रजनी इन 20 मिनट्स मैंने 10 मिनट आजाद का बात सुन के मैंने 10 मिनट अन्ना थे लोग ठीक है डोंट आस्क मी व्हाई ओके डू नॉट
Why?
आस्क मी व्हाई
But
मैंने देखा आई डोंट नो व्हाई ओके
Hmm.
यहाँ पे जितना एक्टिंग किया है उसका 2% भी अन्ना थे में नहीं है ठीक है मतलब
I
आई एम
know, I
टेलिंग
know.
यू if Rajnikant had slept walk through this movie would have been a disaster. This movie would have been a
Absolutely.
There's
disaster.
a shot in this where he's like sitting in his mansion and there's like a red soaked in
Oh
like
yeah,
red light and he's got you can see you can feel what he's feeling and I think that's like an insane amount of praises that anyone can give him, especially with someone who's like 75 years old and whose body doesn't even have that sort of like flexibility or something, which I think which is why I think like Nelson was so smart of using him as an orchestrator rather than a
rather than an
player.
actual
Yeah.
actual player. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here,
Which is the problem? Which is the problem Lokesh has because Lokesh
correct.
inherently needs to have
Yeah.
physical actors
Yeah.
in his action
Yeah.
sequences.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
if you are using Kamal Hassan, you need to
Yeah.
show Kamal Hassan as physically agile as possible. And again,
He
people are
he's more
mistaking
agile
some.
also. He is more agile.
Kamal
Yeah,
Hassan
than
is a
Rajni.
dancer, so he's got much more agility, I'd
Correct.
say.
Correct.
and
Correct. Correct.
there's also the fact that people are mistaking कि कमल हसन से हो रहा है तो रजनीकांत से क्यों नहीं होगा. They are mistaking a very simple thing कि कमल हसन का stardom and रजनीकांत का stardom is very different. Kamal Hassan ka stardom is very different. Kamal Hassan can do mass, but most of the time Kamal Hassan can also experiment.
Yeah. He has the
Rajnikant,
liberty to. Yeah.
yeah, Rajnikant has the same problem as Thalapathy Vijay has, or any other people who has a star power thing, like a Salman Khan,
Salman
to a
Khan.
very
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to a certain degree. They are so constrained by their Salman Khan ka bhoigiri and Rajni's whatever you know the swag Shivaji
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
thing, all that shit. So he's constrained by it. If you give him dignity, if you give him a completely different role, there are high chances the movie is going to drop big time. So, but I think Lokesh has a very hard enough job. And again, I genuinely think that this is more like a project for Lokesh. I genuinely don't think he actually thought about the story itna. It's very much a project for him. Itna star mil raha hai, itna sab kuch mil raha hai. Like, bro, look at the cast. You have
Insane.
Rajnikant, one of the biggest stars of Tamil Nadu. You have Nagarjuna. You have Shobin Sai. Shobin Sai replaces somebody who was a big star in Malayalam. He
Fahad
actually
Fasil.
replaced.
Fahad
I
Fasil.
think-
Which, if I can just make one small note, it was supposed to be Fahad Fasil from what I read.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah,
changed
it's
because
true.
of scheduling conflicts. And I am so happy that happened. Okay. And I'm saying this as a massive Fahad Fasil fan. Okay. Because the problem is that man has been giving one note performances for a while now. Like we have this saying in Malayalam saying kanne mirchit. Like wo aankheं faad ke wo ऐसे एक look देता है. And he's been doing that consistently for the last 4 or 5 films. वो पुष्पा हो, वो आवेशम हो, वो कुंबलंगी नाइट्स हो, वो ट्रांस हो.
I thought
That
he did
for me,
something decent in Vettayan, by the way. If I have to.
that I've
Yeah,
not
he
seen.
was
Okay.
he was good in it. He was the best part of it. To be very honest.
Yeah, he was a supporting character, especially. Sorry.
So
continue.
having
Yeah.
seen at least those films, I am so glad that Sobhan Shahir gets a chance because Sobhan Shahir is not like compared to
I
someone like
love Sobhan
Safa
Shahir, by the way.
conventionally attractive, but he's an excellent actor. Like even
Bloody
in such
good.
an incredible he's
He's
like
so
for
good
example,
in this.
I think Manyumal Boys is a very well
Yeah.
made film, but for me he's the emotional core of it. He's what makes that film click, and I think he's such an incredibly versatile actor, and I'm
mean-
so glad that he got this opportunity.
I mean, in a film like Bhishma Parvam, where he basically takes the reins from Mammootty and becomes the star there, I think he held up his own in a film like that as well. And then on the other hand, he could go and do something like Romancham as well, which is like insanely stupid
Yeah,
and also fun.
yeah, insane.
So
Yeah.
I love
Shobin
him. I love
Shahid,
him.
you have Shobin Shahid, right? So that's another
Yeah.
casting coup.
Hmm.
You have Upendra. Upendra for
Yeah.
literally a nothing role. For a nothing role,
Hmm.
you have Upendra. You have an even bigger nothing role guy in Amir Khan.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
ये क्या कास्ट है? ये क्या कास्ट है? It's like, what are you doing? मतलब मैं तो प्रोड्यूसर को पूछ रहा हूँ, what are you doing? तुमको कैसे लगता है कि
Privilege,
कोई
sir,
राइटर
privilege.
स्टोरी लिखेगा कौन सा राइटर
So
ऐसा स्टोरी लिखेगा इसमें?
apparently, this is what I read was that for that role, Shah Rukh Khan was approached first, and then he said no for it because he didn't want to do cameos post Pathan Jawan.
You know what? Actually, Shah Rukh would have worked. I'm serious. He might have just worked.
Yeah, even I think so.
But I'm glad he did it.
Shah-
I mean, if he was about to get this much, I'm glad he didn't do it, if I'm being entirely honest.
No, I think
Shah
he would
Rukh
have
might
carried
have
it better.
actually worked.
He would have carried
Shah
it
Rukh might
better.
have actually worked. Yeah, Shah Rukh might have actually
Yeah.
worked. Amir looked like comical. Amir looked like
I
Amir
actually
looked completely
did not
off.
mind
Amir looked,
the look,
Huh.
honestly, because I like okay, it's like a little
I
over the
thought
top
it was
of it.
kind of campy. I
Yeah,
will agree. I
correct.
thought it was kind of campy with
I
the
was like, okay,
shorts and the tattoos and
the
the
shorts actually did it
frosted
for me. I was
tips
like, oh,
and
interesting. Chaddi dal ke aa gaya.
Chaddi
t-shirt
dal
पहन
ke.
के आया.
But
Otherwise, you'll
but
never
Amir,
you won't see him doing this, I think, now. So I was like, okay, it's fun like that way.
वो कह
But
रहा था ना रजत सर स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ेंगे नहीं. Clearly, you haven't read the script because if you had read
no,
the script, you would
actually,
have.
if you go back and see Amir Khan interviews in general for the last whatever films he's done, he actually there's a lot of merit to the quality of the movie in the way he actually talk about it. Like if you go and see interviews for something like Thugs of Hindustan, he will constantly keep saying in his interviews, I did this film just for the character. The character was so fun. I did it just for the character. He kept saying these things. And no wonder the film didn't really work out. Even Lal Singh Chadda, you could see it in him that he's not excited about the release of the movie. He knows it. So somewhere I feel even here he knew that he didn't do much, but he thought maybe in the larger scheme of things, people are not going for him. They're going for Rajinikanth essentially
No, but like they
in the
put him
section.
front and center on the Hindi poster of Coolie, which I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's a bit much, okay? Like it's literally just like Rajinikanth and uske like same size mein
Niche.
aage thoda pada. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, I get like the man's a bit of a yapper. Like only he gives like a 7 hour whatever interview to
5
what
hour,
Lallan Top
which
or
I watched by the
5
way.
hour.
5 hours,
No,
five
thank
hours
you.
interview. I'm like,
I watched it.
yikes.
No, but I
I'm
watched it
like,
over
sir,
like 10
okay,
days.
huh.
Sorry,
Of course,
yeah,
like
of
sir, you're a
course.
yap. Like you good for you, you're a yapper, but like वो पिक्चर में ट्रांसलेट नहीं होगी तो मेरे को फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है, ठीक है, प्लीज.
और सबसे बड़ा बात यही है कि see, when you have a big star actor, जिसका entry song है Bom Diggy Dom Dom, I'm sorry, you cannot hope for me to take you seriously. ये Rolex नहीं है. As much as you want to make it Rolex, ये Rolex तो है नहीं. आप क्यों Rolex बना रहे हो? Chris hasn't finished Vikram, so he has no idea what I'm talking about. ये Rolex नहीं है.
Yeah, it was a clear
clearly
idea of
wanted
just doing.
to-
And when that happened, I was like, bro, are you trying to do part two or what, bro? Is it so blatant that you're going to do part two like Vikram? And I was just like becoming so disappointed. But then I was like, ठीक है यार, ठीक है. It's just like let's just treat
But
it
he
as
did,
like any other.
No, but he did it. But I think he smartly just closed off most of the, like,
Yeah.
tied up most of the shit. I'm like, किसका
करना है
part
तो
two
कर
मत
सकते
लाना,
हैं,
ठीक है?
नहीं करना है तो नहीं कर भी सकते हैं, वो टाइप का
हाँ, मत
इक्वल
ला,
के साथ.
मत ला. We are okay with it, ठीक है? It is a good detour. चलते चंगासी, सब
I just
चंगासी.
feel with next movie at least he should go underground and don't even show his face until the film is released. Because I mean I'm talking about Lokesh because I'm like you will sort of not be able to cope up with the idea of making another Vikram or another Kaidi, which people absolutely adore. So it's such a
He's
hard
making
task.
Kaidi too. He's
Yeah.
making Kaidi too.
Yeah.
He is making Kaidi too, which I am
It's
now
starting
very
this year,
concerned.
which as I read, but
I'm very concerned now. If
I'm not
Karthik
concerned
can,
actually. I'm not
if
concerned actually.
Karthik can actually restrain him, हो जाएगा. Karthik पे बोला
No,
थोड़ा
हो
बहुत
जा-
भरोसा है.
I think right now Lokesh is debuting as an actor, man. Like in this director Arun Mateshwaran's movie. So
Oh,
who made
okay.
Captain Miller and Sani Kaidam and
Sani का एकदम या.
Rocky. So he's also
अरे
into
अरे
that gore
अरे
and like action.
ये एलसीयू का एक और मूवी आने वाला था ना, बेंस. इसका क्या हुआ? तो
No, but
बकीराज.
that's just a production. Like he's not directing it.
नो नो, आई नो इज नॉट डायरेक्टिंग इट, बट वो मूवी का क्या हाल है? इस साल आएगा या नेक्स्ट साल आएगा? कोई तो
I
खबर
don't
नहीं
think
है.
it's coming this year because Nivin Pauly is just like too busy in like too many projects. So he won't be able to finish it this year as the kind of film that's supposed to be. So might take some time.
Yeah, so like Kaidi 2, I sincerely hope that he gets it, because yeah, you are right. He shouldn't be just distracted anymore. He should just go underground,
Yeah.
just go back to writing.
I'm saying that as a concerned person because I really like him, man. Like for real. Like I feel the way people have bashed Leo, I'm not able to reason it out in a sense because I feel
Listen,
my interpretation for the
listen,
film was much more.
listen,
Tell me.
listen. जो जिसने भी लियो को बैश किया है ना, फिर वो लोग अगर अगर गोट को अच्छा कह रहे हैं ना, उन लोग को झापड़ मारना चाहिए,
Oh,
ठीक है?
No, I don't
मैंने
listen.
गोट
This
that's
is
a
good
देखा है.
to me.
choice.
मैंने गोट देखा है, ठीक है? हॉल में
हाँ,
जाके देखा है मैंने.
even I went.
एमएस धोनी दिया.
First day I went on that movie also. It was such a brain rot movie.
क्या ब्रेन
But
रॉट मूवी है? क्या ब्रेन रॉट मूवी है? और
but
सबसे बड़ा ब्रेन रॉट क्या है पता है? सबसे बड़ा ब्रेन रॉट क्या है पता है? जो जो रेफरेंस विजय का है मुझे सब मालूम है. आई एम लाइक, मैं थलापति विजय का फैन बन रहा हूँ कब से? ये क्या हो रहा है मेरे से? ये क्या हो रहा है?
but it's fine, I guess. Anything else you would want to talk, and then we can slowly move on to reluctantly onto war two.
No, no, no. No, I think
no,
I think with regards to Coolie, I think,
Hmm.
listen, it's a very interesting, very fascinating detour. I don't think it's a fascinating detour in that I'm going to rewatch it and I'm going to like it. I don't think that's going to be the case. Okay. But I think it is fascinating in what not to do. And it's also fascinating as a comparative study in how, like, this makes Vikram look far, far better than it
Oh
actually is
yeah,
now at this point.
like
Like,
you will feel like that movie is like almost perfect in that sense, you know? Like
in that sense, this movie is perfect because he essentially tries to he essentially tries to reverse engineer Vikram, and it
yeah.
doesn't work at all.
Hmm.
And it like matters a lot in that context, because I know a lot of people who say that like they prefer Kaiti, they prefer Managram, they don't try to they try to come somewhat put Vikram down a pedestal. But I'm
Yeah.
like, you can't do that if you think about it. There's also it also lays to rest another very stupid thing which most critics and trade analysts do. They're like, this movie is a 50% Lokesh movie, 50% Vijay movie. I'm like, कैसे break down करना है? बता पहले कैसे break down करना है? ठीक है. I am telling you this. This is 100% a Lokesh Kanagaraj movie, and this is also
Yeah.
100% a Rajinikanth movie.
Yeah.
The thing is, you now know what a 100% bad Lokesh Kanagaraj movie looks like.
Looks
You know
like.
And
exactly what it looks like.
and 100% pretty decent Rajni movie looks like.
Yeah, you know exactly what it looks like. Ab
I think
expectation
it's a
match
pretty
hai.
decent Rajni movie for sure. This is
Yeah,
my
yeah,
opinion on
it
it.
is.
It's a pretty decent Rajni movie, but it's
Sir,
not a
मैंने
great
सर मैं
Lokesh film.
सर मैंने 10 मिनट अन्ना थे
सर
देखा है,
आपने
ठीक
10
है?
मिनट अन्ना देखी है, मैंने पूरी की पूरी पिक्चर देखी है सर, ठीक है ना? आप और मैं कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते. Chris,
Especially
your
regarding the torture.
final
Especially
Yeah,
thoughts.
regarding the
and
torture of that movie.
yeah, no,
Bolo, bolo.
that's in that sense, I also in a different way feel towards Coolie that like I'm glad I saw it just because like if I hadn't, I don't think I would have had in my current like headspace the time or the interest to watch like no offense at all, but to watch a Lokesh Kanagaraj film. But now, especially having heard all these things about him being a really good filmmaker, I'm really like I literally started watching Vikram as soon as I got the time because I was like I'm really interested, and I'm telling
Yeah.
you till like the half that I watched absolutely flew by. Like I have like I have attention issues.
Yeah.
I'm bad at like keeping up with films and watching them in one sitting. I was having a great time. I was like I'm so sad I
Bas.
can't finish this in one sitting. That's
Yeah.
definitely something that I feel, and I also think that it's like you said, it's a pretty decent like Rajni film, and I don't like regret watching it. Like part of me is also like I was very bored, but I'm like there
Yeah.
is something interesting here that you see that there's something also to say about seeing a film waste its potential, but also to know that there was potential there instead of
Yeah.
seeing a film that's like completely broken from the word go, as we will talk about
Yeah.
it shortly. Also, the last thing I want
क्या
to say is
ट्रांजिशन है, क्या ट्रांजिशन है, क्या ट्रांजिशन है.
last thing I want to say is I thought the comeback of that watch thing was so fucking stupid. It made me angry sitting in the theater. Like I was literally like 5 minutes before it happened. I was like, how are they going to bring these watches back? And then he does it, and I'm like, please, I am done. Get me out of it.
It's like the
Also,
it's like justice type thing, no, in that sense.
also very interesting. Also very interesting. He uses that thing he used in Leo again, like putting an old song into an action set piece.
Yeah.
He does
He
that
did that in
again here,
Vikram
right?
also. I think he did in
He
Master
did that in
also, I
Vikram
feel.
also. Master में नहीं था, विक्रम में था.
I'm not remembering, but I'm sure there was one. Let me
Master
try
में
and
था.
find out. Yeah. There was one.
Yeah. But in Leo तो definitely that for opening का action set
हाँ.
piece Leo में
The
was there.
the cafe sequence.
cafe action set piece. So here he tries to do something, right? And there's also the fact कि वो जो pre-interval का जो sequence है where he's drinking the powerhouse that whiskey. He plays that Ilya Raja ka disco song. He plays that. He plays that before transitioning seamlessly into Coolie disco, the
Yeah.
modern version of the
Yeah,
disco
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm like these things. There are a couple of the nice touches. There is again
Yeah.
one of that editing sequence. One of that editing sequence, कि वो chair पे काम कर रहे हैं Shruti Hassan and Rajinikanth, and the days are
It's like
passing by and the
spins around
camera is
the.
panning. Spins around, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. There's also another very nice scene in where Upendra jumps out, okay, and वो action scene हो रहा है. Upendra comes in front, Rajnikant places the hand on his shoulder, and Upendra just puts a finger on his shoulder, uses that as a blessing, and then starts fighting. I'm like, nice.
Yeah, lovely touch actually.
Lovely touch. I'm like,
Yeah.
these are nice touches. And then I'm like, yeah, this is a Lokesh Kanagaraj movie. It's just a bad Lokesh Kanagaraj movie, which is like, okay, that exists.
My final thoughts are more on the lines of I feel I need to watch it again. So I might just do another theater round for this movie. Because I feel I was also drawn away by the euphoria on the first day watch. And I think when those moments don't land, it becomes like, oh shit, it's not working. Like, and I think that even like puts it under the whole the line that you draw, this is decent and this is below decent, or whatever.
It
So-
makes it sink a lot further.
Sink a lot further in.
Yes.
So I think that's what happened with me. But I think I'm still very, very, very lenient on the movie in comparison to a lot others. But I'm gonna rewatch it at some point and then I'm gonna a film that I'm never going to watch ever again in my life.
Yes.
is War.
Is the movie that Cris likes, which is War 2.
War 2.
Likes with a very, very heavy grain of like very heavy pinch of salt. Okay, we are not going like मेरी reputation भी कुछ होती है.
I'm going to say this, okay? Lots of people say Coolie is like the worst movie ever, or ये Coolie इतना बकवास है, ये क्या movie है, ये सब. I'm like, you people haven't seen a lot of bad movies this year, have you? You haven't. You haven't seen incompetent, utter dog pile of garbage. Yeah, you haven't seen Thug Life. You haven't seen Star Trek Section 31. You haven't seen War of the Worlds 2025. Yes.
Amazing. Lovely time was had. Yeah.
And you haven't seen War 2.
Director of the legendary
Brahmastra.
आज YRF की फिल्म वार 2 रिलीज हुई है, मैंने देख ली है और मैं इसी फिल्म के बारे में आपको बताऊंगा। लेकिन अगर आपने अभी तक मेरा चैनल सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया और करना चाहते हो, आपको लगता है कि मैं आपके लिए अच्छे रिव्यूज़ करता हूं, तो कर लीजिए, घंटी दबा दीजिए, क्योंकि आप घंटी दबा दोगे तो आपको नोटिफिकेशन मिल जाएगा जब मैं नया वीडियो पोस्ट करूंगा।
And you know, it's so sad to say that because I love Wake Up Sid. I really like Wake Up Sid a lot.
I was a Yejwani Hedwani kid, so.
Sorry.
I have one question. हाँ बोलो Cris बोलो.
Cris, go ahead.
No, I just said I'm a Yejwani Hedwani kid, so I mean I grew up at that moment where it had its peak. So I have
Yeah.
a lot of
Fair.
nostalgia for it. Yeah. You
I
were
I
saying,
have a
Amartya.
question. I have a
Hmm.
question. Who gave Aditya Chopra the bright idea after seeing Dharma being bankrupted due to Brahmastra? Who gave Aditya Chopra the bright idea कि आयान मुखर्जी को लेते हैं, स्पाई यूनिवर्स के मूवी पे इंटरेस्ट करते हैं? नॉट इवन दैट, आफ्टर स्पाई
Hmm.
यूनिवर्स हम लोग एक धूम फ्रेंचाइजी कंटिन्यू करेंगे, उसका
Hmm.
कंटिन्यूएशन का भी रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आयान मुखर्जी को देते हैं.
Is that
I'm
what is
like, ये
happening?
क्यों हो रहा है?
Yes.
I
Yes.
think
I didn't
so,
know that.
yes.
I didn't know that
Yes.
at all.
Yes.
I mean the lore behind this film has been so funny that there has been entire Reddit posts that my friends have sent me about there being like a 3-act structure as story just behind the production of this film की रानी
Yeah?
मुखर्जी ने आदि चोपड़ा को बोला कि अयान मुखर्जी को पिक्चर में डालो, रणबीर कपूर ने ये बोला है, इसने वो बोला, they got Ali Abbas Zafar to do reshoots, ये कचरा something or some or the other drama is like happening full times. That has been far more
No, no.
entertaining to experience than the
No,
film
must
itself.
have been like, because I feel something like War 2, which is so controlled and overseen by like Aditya Chopra, they needed just like a what do you call that, fill-in director, like someone who just like is filling in, like just to handle stars, because he has like fair enough idea to handle Ranbir Kapoor who's a star. So I guess that was the thought, I guess. But I don't know
Yeah,
how
probably.
आदित्य
effective
चोपड़ा
that strategy was
देखो
really, because this film is so
देखो भाई
incoherent.
देखो भाई आदित्य चोपड़ा का स्टोरी है, ठीक है. यू वुडंट नो इट कि आदित्य चोपड़ा का स्टोरी है until second half comes and the flashback sequence comes. When the flashback sequence comes, I am like, ये श्योर शॉट आदित्य चोपड़ा ने लिखा है, क्योंकि ये घिसा पीटा
The
फ्लैशबैक सीक्वेंस
70s
का स्टोरी.
Hindi cinema.
70s
वो फ्लैशबैक सीक्वेंस नहीं, पूरा रोमांस का सेटअप था. आई एम नॉट लेटिंग दिस गो. ओके.
how dare they? Like, how dare they? I'm like, तुम लोग को शर्म नहीं आता? You guys are calling them brothers? How dare you?
How dare
This is
you
queer
exactly?
baiting. This is queer baiting. What are you doing?
I cannot believe. Okay, I was reading and watching some reviews after I saw War 2, and one a prominent critic who I will not name said at the end of their review that I am so sad that the homoeroticism of War 1 didn't translate into War 2, and I was like, excuse me, did we watch the same film?
इसमें तो
I was
most of
like,
the number
this is
इतना
just a-
close up तो War 1 में भी नहीं था. There were so
No,
many close-ups.
I'm like,
I'm
okay,
like,
from the strict definition of the word, if you are
I'm
saying
like,
that
आयान मुखर्जी
eroticism
को
नहीं है, no, I'm
I'm
just
like,
saying that
आयान
if you
मुखर्जी
say,
को
Hey, come
हाँ,
on, this is the third overlap. Chris,
बोलो
just go
बोलो
on, man.
बोलो बोलो
I'm just
बोलो
saying
बोलो
that if you say that the eroticism is not there, कि वो
हाँ.
जो like जो like Tiger Shroff looks like he's like visibly aroused every time Hrithik Roshan is on screen. Sure, that's not there. But in this, like the entire climax, okay, or the just after it is like Hrithik
Oh, of
Roshan
course it's the
holding
climax.
a-
Of course it's the climax.
It's the climax. NTR Jr. like 2 inches from his face and talking about how much he wanted to be like him, and NTR Jr. is talking about like how I never felt lonely before you, but it's only after that you left that I understood what loneliness was. And I'm like, there is no heterosexual explanation.
No,
I
there
literally said
isn't.
how romantic out loud at least twice or 3 times during the
No,
movie, like
even my
next to my
friend was
father.
like, just kiss already. And not just
I'm
once,
like,
multiple
I'm like,
times.
no,
Oh, they're going to make out.
I wrote in my story कि आयान मुखर्जी को होमोएरोटिसिज्म भी करना नहीं आता है. People misunderstood me. They were like कि होमोएरोटिसिज्म दिखाया नहीं, वो होमोइरोटिसिज्म नहीं है, वो होमोसेक्सुअलिटी फुल ऑन वो लीन कर चुका है.
I mean, like them riding off into the distance at the end of the film, and like there's this one scene, okay, there's this one scene where there's that mall parking lot shootout, which I'm also like, oh wow, Delhi में scene करना है तो mall basement में होगा. That's quite appropriate.
And that's the place
for the
where
location.
where like that vice president or whatever, the prime minister's deputy guy. I'm like, mall के नीचे ही मिले थे तुम लोग. ठीक है, I mean, that's the
So,
secret
All the
place.
that's
The secret
the-
place.
War 2 suddenly became all the president's men for one split second.
So during this scene, Hrithik Roshan obviously beats this guy up and tells him to call NTR and say that, I've killed Hrithik Roshan. So he calls this guy and says, oh, वो मर चुका है. And he goes, cool. And I said, मैंने एक और चीज बोली थी. And that guy says, हाँ, उसको मरते
वो
हुए
दर्द
ज्यादा
नहीं.
तकलीफ नहीं पहुंची. And then he cuts the call and then NTR says something like, जाते जाते भी इतना दर्द देगा. I'm not kidding. I said, how romantic, like right there.
I
Looking
think
at how he was looking.
it's also
like,
fair that on Letterboxd, if you search what to the second search result is call me by your name. So it's like it
Call
only
me
just
by your
fits
name.
in. It only fits in.
And Amartya made the Brokeback Mountain comparison, which is also very appropriate.
ये basically spy universe का Brokeback Mountain है. Like, why
आते
are
सर
you
मैं आपको 2 मिनट
pretending?
दे रहा हूँ. आप धो दो ये फिल्म को अगर आपको धोना है तो.
Start,
सर
sir.
शांत मत हो. टाइम स्टार्ट हो चुका है.
क्या फिल्म है
नहीं
भाई?
अब मुझे एडिट करना पड़ेगा बैठ के. मुझे बीप डालना पड़ेगा अपना.
No, seriously, but seriously, it's like, पहली बात तो why are you so intent on using VFX, भाई? VFX
Yeah,
करना नहीं आता,
भाई.
क्यों कर रहा है? क्यों कर रहा है?
That F1
अरे
scene.
अरे भाई,
F1 scene.
अरे आदित्य चोपड़ा, शाहरुख खान तो तेरा दोस्त है. शाहरुख खान को बोल रेड चिलीज को लोन में दे थोड़ी दिन के लिए. रेड चिलीज को यूज कर. क्या है? मतलब कितना
Like,
पैसा वेस्ट किया, इतना पैसा वेस्ट किया, ठीक है. आधा से ज्यादा फिल्म तो एस्टेब्लिशिंग शॉट्स में ही चला गया. स्पेन, जापान में गया था क्या? आई एम कंफ्यूज नाउ. जापान में
Yeah,
कैसे?
started in Japan. Opening sequence is in Japan.
ओपनिंग
but
सीक्वेंस इन जापान.
it's clearly not Japan. It's completely shot inside
Yes, set
इट्स
it.
कंप्लीट शॉट.
in a set. Yeah.
जापान, स्पेन, ठीक है, जर्मनी, आईसिस सेक्शन इन
Yemen.
पाकिस्तान, अफगानिस्तान,
Yemen.
येमेन. या I'm like सिर्फ तो एस्टेब्लिशिंग शॉट के लिए तो इतना पैसा खर्च कर दिया. तो क्या कर रहा है? एटलीस्ट इफ यू आर यूजिंग वीएफएक्स, रेड चिलीज को बोल, रेड चिलीज कर देगा. शाहरुख खान तो दोस्त है. शाहरुख खान मैक्सिमम क्या चाहेगा?
Wasn't there like a
एक
thing
कैमियो बोलेगा,
when Pathan
एक
was
कैमियो
coming
बोलेगा
out?
पठान का.
No. What I wanted to say was when Pathan was coming out, apparently there were reports that Shah Rukh Khan was visibly annoyed looking at the VFX of Pathan, especially the helicopter sequence in the beginning, which is what I read in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, he's annoyed कि यार इतना ही खराब क्यों है? Like just give it off to me and all that. But apparently the response was no, the audience will lap it up because you're doing it with conviction. That was the whole argument that was presented. I mean, people did lap it up.
सर ये आर्गुमेंट,
Including you, Amartya.
हाँ ठीक है, मुझे पता है, क्योंकि 2 साल बाद शाहरुख आया है. आई कैन फॉरगिव दैट पार्ट थोड़ा. माई थिंग इज ये कन्विक्शन का एक्सक्यूज ना हमारे रोहित शेट्टी ने भी दिया था सिंघम अगेन के लिए, ठीक है. फिर हमने देखा वो टोनी हॉक प्रो स्केटर का वो ग्राफिक्स, ठीक है. तो माफ करो, यहाँ पर कोई कन्विक्शन है नहीं.
The simple thing.
अरे
हाँ बोलो.
अरे एक चेस सीक्वेंस है, वर्ल्ड इज नॉट इनफ से छापा है, ठीक है. वो स्पीड बोट का
the
जो
motor boat one. Yeah.
वो
I was actually gonna say face off by the way, but you continue. Yeah.
हाँ फेस ऑफ भी है, बट वही ना, वो 90s मूवीज का ले रहा है. मेरा प्रॉब्लम यही है कि आयन मुखर्जी, आदित्य चोपड़ा, आप लोगों को क्यों ये बात समझ में नहीं आता है कि ड्यूरिंग द 90s देयर वाज अ रियल बोट, देयर वाज रियल ओशन, देयर वाज अ रियल वेलोसिटी, देयर वर रियल स्टंट्समैन. यहाँ पर ना है बोट, ना है ओशन, ना है रेस ट्रैक, कुछ भी नहीं है. सिर्फ ग्रीन स्क्रीन है. क्या कर रहा है?
At least like Dharma also had the this thing to hire Double Neck to do their like VFX. ये VFX के पीछे क्यों तुले हुए मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता है यार. It looks like there is this scene like early in the film where NTR Jr. is introduced where he's half naked and hanging off a drone and he's like static as he is flying and I was losing my shit.
लिटरली somebody मेरे बंगाली के ग्रुप में, ठीक है, somebody was like, मैं हॉल पे देख रहा था, somebody पूछ रहा है ड्रोन में जा रहा है, ये क्या बंगा लोकल है? I lost it.
No, I तो when I saw those CGI apps, I was like, okay, this is what I was going to watch. Is it on a random Monday afternoon?
Somebody in the meme, somebody made a meme and made NTR even larger. He looks like a CGI gorilla.
No, but there's something very off in the film in terms of how they lit someone like Hrithik Roshan also. If you
He
see his
looks
skin tone is
red.
so red. I was like,
It's
does
not
the
about the
DP
lighting.
not
It's not about no, it's not about the lighting, or at least I don't know. He's just
सनस्क्रीन में
naturally
एलर्जी है
red
makeup?
for some reason
सन
because there's been
सनस्क्रीन में
promotional
एलर्जी है
hoga,
सनस्क्रीन में
but like
एलर्जी
there's
है
been promotional photos between Ayan, Kiara, and Ritik, and both Kiara and Ayan look normal. पूरा टमाटर लग रहा है भाई ऋतिक रोशन
No, so
पूरा का
what I'm
पूरा
trying to say
टमाटर.
is you have to light for a particular skin tone. That's how it. But this guy felt like, do you not know how to light this skin because it's so visibly red? Even in color correction, you didn't correct it. So I was like, okay, maybe it's like a,
No,
it's a
I'm
call
like
they
तुमको
took.
कितनी हाँ इनको तुमको तो like छापना ही है like 4 or 5 sequences are copied from Mission Impossible. You
Yeah,
have
yeah,
got
yeah.
copies from like the color is from like you John Wick is cool now so everything is gonna be lit like red and
मुझे
green and
मुझे
you
एक
Teal
मुझे एक ही
blue.
क्वेश्चन मुझे एक ही क्वेश्चन है मिशन इम्पॉसिबल से झांपना है तुम लोग को ये समझ में क्यों नहीं आता है ठीक है ये प्लेन पे ऐसे विदाउट ऑक्सीजन एक
खंजर
बंदा प्लेन के ऊपर खेल रहा है ठीक है
That was
उसने
so
प्लेन के
bad.
ऊपर खंजर फोका भाई to like stop himself from sliding and I'm like तुम कर क्या रहे हो मेरी
My reaction to that was like audibly, yaar, ke, what is this nonsense? Please just finish. And it's not finishing at all. It kept on going. And I was like, when is the interval? And when it interval came, I was like, what nonsense? I actually wanted to walk out. I really did want to walk out
प्लेन
because it was
प्लेन
so
में
boring.
खंजर है प्लेन में खंजर हो रहा है और खंजर एक्चुअली मार्क ड्रॉप कर रहा है देयर इज अ विजिबल लाइट आई एम लाइक प्लेन कब
Yeah.
से इतना इतना हो गया भाई
वो भी like you've got a B2 bomber that's like flying parallel to a private jet. I'm like ये क्या दिमाग लगा के शॉट बनाया है भाई
At this point, I actually miss Siddharthanand because at least he knew how to
Oh
do the 90s
100%.
shit. War had a personality. I
somebody
remember
somewhere
discussing it with
Dhruv
Amartya that
suddenly woke up with a sweat
ध्रुव को
on
दौरा
hearing
पड़ा
that.
है
no, I'm telling you, even in something like War, if you see the shots that happen inside like the rooms, right? They are like very tight close-ups and camera
Yeah.
sort of like dollies and tracks right, left, and all that. And that's a very Tony Scott type shot. Like for people who
Yes,
are
yes.
unaware, Tony
Absolutely.
Scott was a maverick filmmaker who made the original Top Gun
Tony
and
Scott was the
multiple.
Tony Scott is the most underrated filmmaker ever क्योंकि टोनी स्कॉट का फिल्म्स को इतना कॉपी किया है सब लोगों ने लेकिन
Yeah,
वो
yeah,
लोग
yeah.
को नहीं पता कि वो टोनी स्कॉट का फिल्म्स को कॉपी कर रहा है ये इतना
And
अंडररेटेड आदमी
if you want to discover more, you can actually check out Amartya's list where he ranked all Tony Scott movies.
है अभी भी नहीं किया खत्म करना
You
पड़ेगा
didn't finish
एक
it?
दो
I thought you
नो
already put that list out. I thought you already finished it. Never mind. Okay. How many movies are there
दो
actually
मूवी
though?
बाकी है around 15 to 16 movies are there around
Okay, that's a lot anyway. Okay. But anyway, whenever
yeah.
Amartya puts out, just check it out because he's watched
I
almost
will
all
put
of
it
them.
out. I will put.
So
Oh God!
my
अब
point
अभी ये
is,
रिकॉर्डिंग में है अभी ये रिकॉर्डिंग में है अब अमृत आएगा पूछने ए लिस्ट कहाँ है लिस्ट कहाँ है
no, my point is at least that movie had that sort of character, it's like doing if you must have seen Spy Game, Robert Redford and Brad
yes
Pitt
yes
wali. That's such an
वो पेन शॉट
like yeah.
कंटिन्यूअस पेन
So
शॉट वो क्लोज अप टाइट
correct,
शॉट्स या
correct. And I was like, at least he's taking taking good visual references, even though I didn't like War so much personally. But War 2 is so bland. It is such a phika thakawa. I don't even know what to describe it as because anything is
No,
an
it's
insult
like
to the product that I'll give it as like comparatively.
कुछ नहीं है
सिद्धार्थानंद अच्छा हो ना हो सिद्धार्थानंद एटलीस्ट डायरेक्टर है इस पिक्चर का डायरेक्टर है ही नहीं ओके लेट्स बी वेरी फ्रैंक अबाउट इट
Director
I
hai.
still
This is
I
equivalent to
am
Amartya
sorry
saying it's a film.
लिटरली
it is
आई विल
Siddharth Tana director hai.
इट्स अ फिल्म We should launch t-shirts on our Patreon. It's a film. Siddharth Anand
Siddhartha
director hai.
Yeah. It's like can't even say it.
what
But
I'm
please go
saying
ahead.
is that like post Tigers in the Hair, which is when the like franchise building stuff actually starts. I still think War is I think the best. Like while I like Pathan better because Shah Rukh, and I still think there are some elements of that is I still think are nice. I think War for me works despite its plot nonsense as one of the most interesting and engaging entries in whatever. So that's War, Pathan, Tiger 3 and War 2. So I was looking forward to whatever came of War. I mean, I to will watch whatever kachra, and I went in with no expectations. That's also like very clear. But I
No,
was
no,
just like,
it's
okay,
like
Ritik is.
Chris, next
it's like
time
what to me.
when we are in Delhi, no, we'll literally put that song while we go and watch some trash movie. Okay, गाड़ी वाला आया,
What to me.
घर से कचरा आएगा. We'll do
No,
that.
no,
We'll take
it's
Dhruv also with us, and we'll make him watch some idiot trash
100%.
shit which is playing in theaters.
Yes.
It's a fantasy
it's
at
like
this point, but
what.
it should happen.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like what to me. What to me. There are like, see, the conceit of what to ki Kabir, because he's undercover and he has to infiltrate, is forced to kill his mentor. Okay, that's a serious shit. That's some serious shit. You
Yeah.
could have made the movie very well by simply, like, you chuck out NTR entirely. More importantly, because I didn't like NTR in this movie at all. So you chuck
Yeah.
out NTR
They did him very
entirely.
dirty, man. They did him very dirty.
Oh God.
You make this movie about him versus Kiara Advani. You make Kiara Advani the person in pursuit of him. You use that emotional arc कि पहले romance था, फिर romance नहीं है. So it's like
Correct.
there is a complication here. There is a complication here. आप complicacy करो. अगर करना ही आप complicacy करो. ये सब बीच में से क्या नौटंकी है?
सर
Homosexuality
एनटीआर
डालना
को
पड़ेगा
निकाल
सब.
दिया तो नो एनटीआर को निकाल दिया तो गे रोमांस नहीं बनेगा ना, तो द एंटायर पॉइंट इज लॉस्ट. तो वो तो कर नहीं सकते. द लाइक फॉर मी द थिंग इज जस्ट No, I was
Continue,
just saying
continue.
that I really think it was very stupid to reveal from the very beginning that Ritik isn't bad actually, because I think that shows a level of like insecurity at the side of the filmmakers. Ki they aren't willing to let the audience even think for a little bit ki he's actually turned. I think it would have been far more interesting to actually have that suspense for a bit, have NTR's character, and then actually do the flip. Not
Reverse
being
the
like,
roles,
oh,
yeah.
we already, and then have to, because then the reversal makes, you were expecting it. You're like, of course, यही होना बचा है. But at least
लियो
वहां होता तो it could have been
लियो
done
देखना चाहिए
interesting.
था. लियो देखना चाहिए था इन लोगों को. इन लोगों को लियो देखना चाहिए.
इन्होंने तो कभी पिक्चर देखी है नहीं, that is very clear. इन्होंने बस
इन्होंने
YouTube पे
70s के बाद
highlights
देखनी बंद
देखे.
कर दी. 70s के बाद देखनी बंद कर दी मेरे हिसाब से तो. वही फिल्में वापस
आदित्य
वही
चोपड़ा
बन
ने
रही
तो
हैं.
100%. आदित्य चोपड़ा तो 100% ने बंद कर दी, क्योंकि वो फ्लैशबैक सीक्वेंस कोई आजकल का मॉडर्न फिल्म मेकर के दिमाग में नहीं आएगा. आई 100% टेल यू, नहीं होगा भाई. प्रिजन में है, जेल में था, जेल में थे वो दोनों भाई भाई अपने. फिर आए एक आर्मी के ऑफिसर उन लोगों को रिक्रूट करने. वाह वाह वाह, क्या क्या स्टोरी है. बहुत अच्छा.
Also, like NTR is done
अरे फिर
so
बीप डालना पड़ेगा मुझे
dirty.
यार अब. Sorry Chris, sorry for interrupting.
NTR's, like, for example, I was extremely impressed by NTR's diction. Like, that man has clearly put in a lot of effort.
I would say
अच्छा,
that his acting was also head and shoulders above Roshan,
हाँ.
who's, who I like in
who
general.
put in Wikipedia? Who put in Wikipedia that NTR is the most accomplished polyglots in history? किसी ने तो दिया है, कोई एनटीआर
ये
का
कहाँ
फैन ने
से
दिया
आया
है
है?
विकिपीडिया में
मेरे
है.
कॉलेज वाला होगा कोई, हमारे कॉन्वोकेशन पे apparently someone got a huge NTR junior poster right after he got like his like graduation certificate. तो
Damn.
मेरे कॉलेज वाला होगा कोई.
Damn.
But like his diction is very good, like especially after being traumatized by Prithviraj and Sarzameen, where I'm like, sir, please, ऐसे नहीं करते सर, please, कृपया करके हमको बख्श
Such a
दीजिए.
banger joke. The setup was so long.
I like the
It actually
fact, I
continues
like
from
the
the
fact,
continues from live stream. Correct.
I like the fact that Chris is so respectful of Prithviraj that even while insulting he says, sir, कृपया
माफ
करके
करो ना.
बख्श दीजिए.
Please, sir, sorry, sir, please. And I'm just like, he literally have NTR Junior say, why so serious? Like, are you kidding me?
Oh yeah. Oh
भाई
yeah.
तूने क्या?
What the?
Like किसी ने
I
पिक्चर
was
लिखी
literally-
हुई है.
I was literally expecting him to say, let's put a smile on that face. I was expecting it. फिर वो नहीं बोला, I was disappointed. I'm like, क्यों नहीं बोला? बोल देता. Problem क्या है?
That's why I'm saying, like, War 2, I think works excellently if you watch it just as, like, like, as a friend of mine put it, as YRF's response to Dharma's Dostana. Like, yes,
Wow.
please. Like, this is gay culture in
Dekho,
2025 Bollywood.
you guys have finished. I
देखो
hope you guys have finished your thoughts because I'm finished cutting my nails now. So I think that this was the biggest pastime I could have had while cutting nails. I was engaged
देखो
in this more
देखो
than I
मैं
was in
एक
the
बात
movie.
बताता देखो देखो मैं एक बात बताता हूँ, ठीक है? हम लोग देखने नहीं वाले हैं इसको पास टाइम के हिसाब से भी नहीं देखने वाले। आई एम नॉट इवन गोइंग टू वॉच इट पीस ड्रंक। ये मूवी इतना कचरा है, ये मूवी इतना कचरा है। आई एम नॉट इवन गोइंग टू वॉच इट ड्रंक। अगर मैं ड्रंक देखूं मैं सोबर हो जाऊंगा गुस्से में। सो नहीं मैं
No, no.
नहीं देख रहा ये मूवी।
My closing thoughts are more to do with NTR being done so bad in the movie. I was like, भाई अच्छे से उसको respect देनी थी यार. If this is supposed to be a big debut, I was actually surprised he agreed to do this movie for the kind of role he
या
has, and he comes in like so late in the movie with like whatever presentation. It's so just like boring, man. Like,
ऑल्सो
do better.
जनाबे अली डांस क्या है? वो डांस क्या है? मतलब क्या है वो गाना क्या है? वो डांस क्या है? कुछ भी
प्रीतम
नहीं
को
है।
गोली मारो। आई एम सॉरी, क्या कच्चा बना के रख।
Chris, you're on fire. All your jokes are making me laugh. प्रीतम को गोली मारो. Hey, where is Vishal
Is
Shekhar? मैंने सोचा
is it
विशाल
his
शेखर को
jokes?
लाते.
Is it his jokes or the fact that you actually watched War 2 और आपका expectation मतलब टॉयलेट पे है at this point?
Yeah, people who've not seen it don't
Oh
see it.
god.
No, I can't say that, please. Watch it,
Oh
bro, if you
god.
नहीं
want
नहीं
to.
नहीं संजीत कांत से दैट। संजीत को काम भी
No,
लेना है तो
हाँ भाई
इंडस्ट्रीज में,
काम भी
सो
करना
वो
है भाई.
डायरेक्ट काम भी करना है। तो हम लोग कह देते हैं क्योंकि
हम बोलेंगे।
हम बोलेंगे मत देखो।
दिस
मत
इज वेयर आई
देखो।
एम विद अमर्त्या when he says कि तुमको पैसे नहीं मिल रहे तो कृपया करके ना देखिएगा।
Hey,
Literally.
fair enough.
I
I too
should
would
have
just say
followed that
Ayan
axiom on
Mukherjee.
my own.
You
I should
should
have
have
followed that
followed that
axiom. I
axiom.
should have followed that axiom
I
on my own.
I अब मेरे
I
बाप का पैसा टू उड़ाओ, so I was like देख ही लेते हैं।
So closing thoughts before we finish recording, literally in like 1 minute. Everyone has like 20 seconds max. Chris, go. 20 seconds start.
क्लोजिंग थॉट्स, वॉर 2 मत देखो, अत्यंत कचरा है एंड कतई बोरिंग पिक्चर है। लेकिन अगर आपको एक गे रोमांस देखना है वरना आपको क्वियर थ्योरी में इंटरेस्ट है, प्लीज जरूर देखेगा, बट व्हेन इट कम्स ऑन स्ट्रीमिंग और यूजिंग अ कैम प्रिंट, बिकॉज दीज पीपल डोंट डिजर्व अ रूपी ऑफ योर लाइक हार्ड अर्नड मनी, यू और योर पेरेंट्स हार्ड अर्नड मनी। दैट्स माई पिच, प्लीज।
Okay, Amartya, 20 seconds, go.
I'm done.
Okay, you're done.
I'm
Fair
not even
enough.
wasting my thoughts on this movie. I'm done.
I would say if you all can put all that money into same-sex, getting legalized same-sex
Yes.
marriages, that would be a bigger win than making a film like
Yes.
this. And Ayan Mukherjee is amazing director. I hope he works with me one day. Or rather, I work
Adi
with him
Chopra
one day.
बेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर।
Best
आदित्य
producer.
चोपड़ा बेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर।
I think
संजीत
the
को
movie
काम
looks
दीजिए
bloody
प्लीज।
amazing. Please
संजीत को
give me
काम
more
दीजिए
work.
प्लीज। संजीत को काम दीजिए प्लीज।
सैयारा 2, Sanjeet, please come on, we will
Yes,
get it
yes,
done, please.
absolutely.
We should
I'll
have
back
talked.
that movie.
We should have talked about Sayara. But anyway,
I
We
want to
spoke
talk
about it in
about
the
it so bad.
live
We did.
stream, no?
Oh yeah.
Sayara.
I forgot.
Okay.
इतना
Uh,
कच्चा मूवी निकला है इस वीक, सब भूल गए हम लोग। एक लाइव स्ट्रीम था पहले।
अभी तो
This is the
परम
end of-
सुंदरी आना है,
हाँ?
मेरी बिचिंग और
Oh
स्टार्ट होने
no
वाली
way!
है।
Please don't. I'm not even going near that film. No
No,
chance I'm
मेरे
going near that movie.
इट्स रिलीजिंग द डे बिफोर माय बर्थडे एंड नाउ वो तमिलियंस को छोड़ के मल्लूस के पीछे भागे हैं, तो मेरे को गुस्सा होने का मौका मिला है। तो
हाँ,
मेरे
आप
तो
तो
प्लान्स
जाइएगा।
ऑलरेडी बन चुके हैं।
Chris, a great
आप
idea.
जाइए।
Okay. I'm saying put a camera on your
हाँ।
face and record the whole reaction to the movie. 2.5 घंटे का रिएक्शन मैं देखेगा लाइव स्ट्रीम. मैं लिख के दे रहा तेरे को आज. I'll
लाइव
watch
स्ट्रीम
it. मैं
देखूंगा।
live
I will share it everywhere.
live
It will be
reaction
more
to Puram
entertaining than
Sundari
War 2.
opening day
It
in cinemas in Delhi. Watch the guy go crazy.
it will be more entertaining than War 2. That's for sure.
Adrenaline rush.
Does he make it out of the theater? Question mark.
Question mark. 3 question marks should be there
नहीं
just
सर,
to.
नहीं सर, War 2 के बाद अगर आप जिंदा हो तो आप कोई भी मूवी के बाद जिंदा हो सकते हो।
No,
That's
I
not
don't
an
think
issue.
so. That movie is also. But anyway, uh, this is the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting us. You can follow us on our Instagram page at Queens.film podcast. You can follow Amartya on his Instagram page at Amartya25. Cris, I'm forgetting your Instagram handle again. Please plug it in right now.
I'm at PRDSCRIS. PRDS
See,
Cris.
why do I always remember Chris Slim? It's probably because of Letterboxd. You can follow him on his Instagram,
Yes.
on his Letterboxd page at Chris Slim. You can follow me at Pixel Baba. If you
Follow
want
Chris.
to.
Follow Chris. He has some weird. Follow Chris. He has some weird like star ratings for movies, which is going to make you angry.
Yeah,
Which
fun.
is going to make you angry.
I am
fun,
like a
fun.
letterbox rage bot, essentially.
Multiple episodes coming out in the next few weeks. One is the David Lynch continuation with Wild at Heart, and
Yes.
also what is the new episode that is coming out?
There's one
With
on Taiwanese
Arjun.
New Wave.
Taiwanese
There's
New
also
Wave.
one on Eddington, which we've just recorded.
Eddington, that is the new one which these guys recorded the day before we are recording this. So it depends. I think Eddington will be out tonight. So Eddington is behind this episode. So you can go and check out. No, not Eddington, sorry. Wild at Heart is coming
No,
out
David
before.
Lynch, Wild at
Wild.
Heart is.
David Lynch is coming on. So David Lynch is behind this episode. You can go and check that episode out. And the other David Lynch episodes where they've discussed other David Lynch films. All must episodes, especially the Blue Velvet one, where there's a lot of interjections from one other masterpiece film that has come out this year called Houseful 5. Go check it out. This is the end of this episode.
जिसका दो versions है by the way. Just
जो दोनों
remind
मैंने
people.
देखी है.
Yes.
Yes.
By auteur Chris. Thank you so much for listening. End of episode. खत्म.
देखिए, फिल्म में कहानी तो है नहीं, या मेरी समझ में नहीं आई है, लेकिन 2-4 मोटी मोटी बातें जो मेरी समझ में आई है वो मैं आपको बता देता हूं। लिंगू यानी कि जूनियर एनटीआर, ऋतिक रोशन यानी कि टकला, अनिल कपूर, कियारा एडवाणी, ये सभी लोग रॉ के एजेंट हैं। अब आप कहेंगे कि भाई अगर ये सभी रॉ के एजेंट्स हैं तो विलन कौन है? देखिए, विलन तो कोई भी नहीं है। कभी लिंगू विलन बन जाता है, कभी ऋतिक विलन बन जाता है, कभी ऋतिक हीरो बन जाता है, कभी लिंगू हीरो बन जाता है।